Last episode, we built this custom forest in my hardcore Minecraft Forever world. And as beautiful as we have our overworld looking now, I actually want to head underground this episode to try to tackle the empty space we have below the Mega Castle starter base. You see, I've got a chest monster that's been piling up for a couple of months now, and I want to start to solve that issue by building my dream storage room. Now, in order to begin this process, I actually need tons and tons of gold, like copious amounts of gold. But looking in my valuable storage chest here, I basically only have 29 pieces, so we need to start by building a gold farm. So I'm going to fly out to a beach that's near the starter base, and I'm going to attempt to collect some turtle eggs from a bunch of the local turtles. And I'm also going to need some seaweed or seagrass to help breed them up. And I think I'm just going to try to come in here and make a little makeshift pen for them so they can't escape and wander around, because these guys tend to like to do that. So hopefully this will prevent them from wandering around too much. Just gotta push a couple of these guys around on the sand. His flippers, his fins, flippers, fins, swimmy things, I don't know, but they're freaking out. And we've actually already got our first turtle egg, so this is going pretty well. And I really can't be bothered to try to corral all of these turtles into one place, so I'm just going to breed up most of them where they're sitting so I don't have to move them. Hopefully this saves time. But after waiting around for about 20 minutes, we now have 6 turtle eggs, so I'm just going to fly back over to our starter island, and I'm going to work on crafting up some chests and hoppers because we're going to be needing a lot of those for the collection system in the gold farm. I'm also going to need to smelt up some glass, so I'm going to whip out some of these coal ores that we have, and I'm going to use my fortune pick on them to get some coal so we can smelt those up. Then we'll just throw all the sand into these furnaces and sit and wait until they're done smelting. I'm also going to come in and craft up some spruce trap doors. I'll also need a couple ladders and a piece of flint and steel. And obviously we need to build this gold farm in the nether, and I've actually run out of obsidian, so I'm going to grab a water bucket and head down to the caves here to try and collect enough obsidian to give us like maybe 1 to 3 nether portals. I feel like maybe we might have to do a couple back and forth trips, so I'll probably grab some extra just to be safe. And I'm also going to play a very dangerous game here of look a bunch of endermen in the eye and then attempt to kill them because I need ender pearls. We're going to need to glitch through the top layer of bedrock in the nether, so I have to get some of these guys. And I think one of them I think an angry one just went through the portal. That's really not good. Hold on, wait a minute, let me see. Is he waiting on the other side for us? Hello? Yes, he is. There we go, that's 1 down. And 2 down. Okay. We're good to go. That was a little scary. But another thing we're going to need to use is a bunch of magma blocks. I'm going to use these as the spawning platforms for the piglins, or rather the zombie piglins, I guess. So I'm going to need quite a bit of this. Alright, so now I'm just going to start towering up here to the nether roof, and I'm going to go up to the highest block of bedrock that I can find. It's supposed to be at Y level 127, I think. I'm going to place down our ladders, and I'm going to pause the game real quick to make sure I'm actually doing this right, because this could very easily spell death for the end of the world, so I'm just going to double check everything, make sure I'm remembering correctly, and we're going to go for it. And that was nowhere near as difficult as I thought it was going to be. Okay, we didn't get stuck or anything. I don't, did we even take damage? I don't even think we took damage. But before I forget, I'm going to throw up another portal on the roof here and get that lit so we actually have a way to get back home, because we don't want to get stuck up here. And this brought us out actually pretty close to the starter base. It's going to take a couple of fireworks to get to and from this place, which will be annoying. We need to set up a proper nether hub eventually too. I need to travel more efficiently. But now that we have safely set everything up, it's time to start building the actual gold farm. And this is a pretty easy and simple design. Again, this is kind of going to be a temporary farm. So we're just going to build a quick collection system at the bottom of the build. And then we're just going to build a few layers of magma blocks for the zombie piglins to spawn on. And in the center of each layer, we'll place a glass block with a turtle egg on top, and then trapdoors between the glass and the magma blocks to make sure the zombie piglins think they can walk and crush the egg, and they'll end up falling down to their death. Alright, so after AFKing here for about half an hour, about maybe 20 minutes, it's time to see what kind of loot we collected. And honestly, this looks like, for such a short amount of time, a pretty decent amount of golden nuggets, almost an entire inventory full. So as small as this thing is, it seems to be pretty efficient. We're probably going to expand it later in the video. I might do that over in a live stream. Speaking of which, being subscribed to the channel and having your channel notifications on so you can watch live streams is a really good way to see all my behind the scenes type of content. You know, a lot of my quote unquote off camera mining is done on my live streams, and I do a lot of interior builds over there as well, so consider subscribing and checking that out. But now that the gold farm is up and running, I'm going to let it run every once in a while overnight in between recording segments. That way it can be running when I'm sleeping and I can get things done during the day. But I'm going to return to our starter wizard tower here, and the reason I'm going over in this direction is because I want the actual entrance to this big storage room to be like a secret little corridor that's in our current valuable storage room. Like, I'm literally just gonna come off to the left here and start digging a little hole down. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to run over to the forest area we just built, and I am going to borrow the beacon we have there because I do need haste. I want to get all of this done quickly, and I want to burrow a tunnel all the way from underneath of our starter wizard tower to where the storage room is going to be. So I need to do that as efficiently as possible. And you know, now that I'm having to move this beacon around, it's got me thinking about a wither skeleton farm. It would be pretty nice, and we are long overdue for some more beacons in this world. But anyways, I'm just going to temporarily throw this down in the water, and there we go. Now I can properly funnel out a tunnel underground here. And there we go. Now we have that tunnel connected up to where the main storage area is going to be. Now I do want the entrance to this tunnel coming from the storage room to be a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to get rid of the sand here and try to shape up the entrance a little bit better. Now I'm just going to use a stone cutter here to get us a couple of variants of slabs and stairs of a couple of different stone blocks, and we are going to come back down into our secret tunnel here and use those blocks to help smooth out the shape of the tunnel to make it look more natural. But now that we've got the tunnel smoothed out, I want to come into this kind of little flat area I have over here and use a bunch of different types of chiseled tuff to make kind of like an ancient looking stone entrance that was maybe carved directly out of the rock that was blocking the way here. Or maybe to kind of make it look like this area or access to this area was intentionally sealed up by somebody. And again, just trying to give it that look that this has been here for like thousands of years. And then I also want to build a little kind of broken-ish staircase going up to the door, also carved out of stone, and we're going to use just a bunch of different types of slabs for that as well. Now I'm just going to come in with a spruce door and a spruce trapdoor to make, or I guess to finish off the entrance to the storage area. And with that done, I'm just going to come around and place down some stone pressure plates and some stone buttons as well to make the rocks on the ground look a bit more rough and kind of jumbled up. And then I'm also going to come in with some more spruce wood, primarily some spruce logs for some support pillars. Then I'm also going to add just some more spruce trapdoors, some barrels, and maybe even some chests and slabs, just to add some more detail around the area. Now I'm also going to come into the tunnel here and use some candles to give us a pretty dim light source. You know, even when you use like torches and glowstone underneath of carpets, which is normally the method I use for lighting areas up, it's still pretty strong, and I'm looking for something more subtle. So not only does this give off, again, the proper amount of light that we're looking for, but candles on top of levers also just look really, really cool. with the tunnel complete, we're now going to come into the main storage area here, and I'm going to actually start digging. And I know we already have a massive amount of space under here, but do you know what would be even cooler? An even bigger amount of space. So I'm gonna spend the next couple of hours digging out a couple thousand more blocks. And while we're digging out this absolutely massive area, I want to go over today's comment of the day. And the comment of the day this time comes from somebody called XavierZa1. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, of course, as always. But Xavier says, "Yo man, I'm trying to get advice for building since watching videos doesn't really teach me. Was just wondering if you got any advice for me." So first of all, Xavier, thank you for the comment of the day, and the answer to your question is actually in your question. I get asked all the time about building tips and tricks and how I do what I do, and I think the best piece of advice that I always try to give for building tips is this. Watching YouTube videos and tutorials is a great place to start, but that will only take you so far. The real magic will begin to happen when you stop watching and you start building. You need that in-game hands-on experience. And this is applicable to basically any skill. Like for example, you wouldn't watch 100 videos on YouTube on how to play the guitar and then go pick up a guitar and expect to be a master at it. You haven't played with it yet really. Sure, you may know how it works in general, but you don't know the feel of it, you don't know the mechanics of it, and you're not going to be very good. So when it came to building, this is what I would always do, and this is what I recommend to you. Watch a video or learn a technique to get inspired, then turn the video off and build using that technique completely from memory. Try your best not to copy block for block. Obviously, in the very early stages of you playing this game, that's most likely what you'll end up doing, and that's fine. But once you get past that part, turn the video off and stop doing the block for block copies. Take the idea and attempt to make it your own. And that's how you'll actually learn to build. By putting things together with your own hands, experimenting, changing things, and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And the more you build, the better you get, and trust me, it's an absolutely amazing feeling when all of the puzzle pieces suddenly fit together. But once again, Xavier, thank you for the comment, and let's get back to the time lapse. Alright, so now this area is looking a lot better, and we definitely have just so much more room to work with. But now I actually need to collect a couple more stone type blocks, so we're going to fly over to our mining district. We're going to head down underground, and we're going to begin digging out some tuff because I am going to need a lot of that. But with all the tuff collected, I'm now going to head back up to our mountain mining area, and I'm going to clear out a bunch of stone and cobblestone because those are going to be the other two blocks that make up the ground and the cave system that we're going to be building. But alright, as you can see here through all of these chests, we have just a butt ton of stone and tuff and cobblestone. This really should do it. This should be all we need. I will be very surprised if we have to go out for another mining trip, so I think we're good to go. So with everything gathered, the first thing we're going to do is tear up the entire ground floor under our cave here, and we're going to replace everything with some tough stone and cobblestone. And now what I want to do is start layering up a bunch of rock along the little mini cliffside we have here, and just bring it up to a decent height that I'm happy with. Alright, so that is looking pretty good. I'm actually really happy with how this is turning out so far. Now I'm going to come back in with Lightmatica, and I saved some kind of rock presets that I made to kind of help us build up some pillars that will stretch from the ground to the ceiling. Yeah, taking a step back and looking at this kind of rock stone pillar here, I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to keep going with this design for a while and see how everything turns out. Alright, so this place is definitely coming along really well. Now, please keep in mind, all of these rocks are not shaped up properly yet. This is kind of just a bulk regular block outline. I plan to go back through with some stairs and slabs and other types of blocks to kind of help like smooth everything out again. So this is not final, but what I want to do now is fly up to the top here, and I want to get started on filling in the roof and making it look smooth. And so with the ceiling in place, I now want to come to the back area of the cave and kind of build up this wall here again to make it look more natural and to attempt to get rid of as much of the moss and mossy cobblestone as we can. I still want some kind of moss and mossy cobblestone growing at like the tops of the cave to maybe give the illusion of like some algae and stuff, but want to get rid of as much of that as possible. I also want to come over to the entrance of the cave and kind of shape it up a bit more as well. Again, just trying to hide all the grass and that giant tree we have growing underground now. And so now what I want to do is enclose this little ledge we have at the top of the build here as well. I think it would be really cool if we had a walkway or kind of a pathway going around the top of the entirety of the build so we can look down into this pit at all of our gems and things that we're eventually going to be throwing down there. And if you were wondering why I needed a gold farm earlier, that's why. I want this to be a kind of hands-on storage room where there's literally just gold blocks scattered all over the floor like a giant treasure hoard. It's gonna be really cool. And so now one of the last things I want to do to finish getting this cave ready is to just replace all of the grass and sand on the floor with, again, stone, cobblestone, and tuff. So now that we have the general shape of the entire cave laid out, I'm going to come in with a bunch of the slabs I made earlier, and I'm going to do what I said I was going to do earlier, which is basically just smooth everything out. Alright, and I have to say, that looks a lot better. I didn't smooth everything out just across the board. I did want this to look natural and not too man-made, so I did leave some jagged edges every now and again, but primarily, especially walking back through this back tunnel here, you can really tell just how much this has changed, and I'm very happy with it. And I have been AFKing at the gold farm every now and again, but as I'm laying the gold out in the center of the floor here, which, again, remember my plan is basically to cover this entire area in gold, I'm realizing that we really do not have enough. So we are going to head back into the nether to gather up some more magma blocks, and I'm going to come in here, probably fire up another live stream, and we're going to fix up this gold farm here, add a couple of layers to make sure it runs a lot more efficiently. So now with this farm running a lot better, I want to also increase our drop rate by sealing in the killing platform. I'm just going to build up a bunch of layers of glass. That way, when the zombie piglins drop down, the items that they drop won't accidentally spill out over the edges onto the bedrock, and everything will be collected by the hoppers. And there we go. Not only does that look a lot cooler, but look at how fast this thing is running, man. I mean, good lord, they're basically dropping every second, which is kind of insane. This feels very overpowered for a very simple design. This is literally just turtle eggs, magma blocks, glass, and wood. I mean, that's literally it. So after I got the farm fixed up, I spent the night AFKing there, and we got a ton of gold. But before I show you all of that, I want to come over to the farming district here and just scoop up a bunch of these carrots. We're going to do a full harvest on our carrot farm here, because now that we're uber rich, I want to switch over to using golden carrots as our primary source of food. Now our cows can finally live in peace without the fear of being slaughtered and eaten every morning. And so now we'll just take all of those carrots that we got, we'll get ourselves some gold nuggets, and start converting them into that luscious new food source. And we're gonna head back down into the caves here, and I want to show you that I have got almost an entire shulker box full of gold. I mean, we are swimming in this stuff now, and what's crazy is that this still isn't going to be enough. We're going to have to do a few more AFK sessions, but I'm feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. Now I'm heading back into the Nether to collect a few more blocks, because before we even place some of the gold down, I want to build something else in the cave. Now, if you'll remember, a few weeks ago, we talked about potentially building a dragon to guard all of the gold, and I've decided that I actually do want to go through with that. Now, this is going to help build onto the lore of the world, and I will explain how in another video, but there is definitely something more at play here. And I also thought it would be cool if this first dragon that we built here was red. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a time in the Minecraft community years and years and years ago where there were rumors going around that we were going to get a red dragon as like a nether dragon in a Minecraft update, and it never actually ended up happening. But I thought it would be cool to try to include something like that here, kind of as an homage to the OG Minecrafters and, you know, to a lost point in time of the Minecraft community. So I'm going to just gather up some nether wart blocks and some crimson stems. I'm also going to collect some regular nether brick and some netherrack so that we can smelt into more nether brick and turn that into red nether brick. I'm also going to need a decent amount of blackstone, so we're going to stop in this basalt delta here to gather some of that. And now I'm just going to use up some of our leftover nether warts and soul sand to create a temporary nether wart farm down in the cave here, and we'll just AFK here and grow these out for a little bit to make sure we can get all the red nether bricks we're going to need. This is probably going to be the most difficult block to collect in this process. Now, one of the last things that we're going to need is something that could potentially get us killed, so I'm a little nervous about this, but I really want this dragon to have like a pale blue eye. I think that would be pretty cool, and originally I was going to use a diamond block to kind of get that message across, but I think I want to use a sea lantern. So we're going to fly out to the ocean here, drop right into the water, and as quickly as we possibly can, try to avoid all these guardians, and they're already attempting to shoot at me, which is not great. I'm just going to try to steal one of these sea lanterns. I got to drop something in my inventory, oh my god. There we go, we got it, and now we got to get the hell out of here. Good lord. Yes, Dolphin's Grace, please. Please save me. Oh my god, dude, we're zooming. But alright, we have returned home safely. Now it's time to start building the dragon. Now, as we're building this dragon here, I want to explain a little more about it. While I do want to include other real dragons in this world, this particular dragon is less of a biological creature and more of a curse. And the reason why I have him down here below the mega castle surrounded by all this gold, the lore goes that if the villagers don't donate a percentage of their earnings to this dragon, he will get angry, he'll burst out of the cave and destroy the world. This dragon is also directly tied to the magic that our sorcerers in this world use, but we'll talk about that some other time. I just wanted to explain quickly why he's here. And if you notice, he's lacking some pretty defining features, most notably his wings. This dragon doesn't have any wings, but again, there are reasons for that, and we'll get into it some other time. But alright, the dragon is done, and I think he is a very beautiful boy. I love the way this guy turned out. Now, please be gentle with me in the comments. This is one of the first times I've ever built an organic creature in Minecraft, so I know it's not perfect, but I'm happy with what I managed to do. But now it's time to start marking out all the areas where I actually want to have these massive piles of gold. And I do want these gold piles to be completely made out of solid blocks. Now, in order to save time for the video, I'm not going to be making sure every single pile is complete solid gold, because I would just have to AFK for far too long in order to get that to happen. But I am going to be doing my best to fill them in as much as possible. So now that all the major piles of gold are in place, I want to come along the pathways I left in the ground here, and I want to just scatter some more gold throughout the area to kind of look like, you know, those piles of coins and treasure are spilling out into the pathways and walkways as well. And this will just help to make things look more chaotic and less uniform. We'll also build up some more little piles of coins and gold around the dragon himself, kind of to make it look like he's snuggled into the warmth of the treasure. And yeah, I think this is looking a lot better. Now I also went ahead, scooped up all of our other valuable items and turned them all into their block variants. And so I've got some raw gold ore here. I have some diamond blocks. I have some emerald blocks and redstone blocks. And we're just going to go around and every now and again dot in these different colored valuable blocks to make it look like there are gems and jewels shining all over the place and making the area look real sparkly and just super colorful. Now, I also want to have some hidden lighting in the ground here, so I'm going to dye all of my sheep yellow and shear them so I can get yellow carpet, and then I'm going to head into the nether and I'm going to collect a bunch of glowstone. The reason why I'm going to use glowstone under the carpets and not just torches is because I don't want the little smoke particles from the torches to be emanating from the ground, and since glowstone doesn't do that, I'm opting to use glowstone. But now we'll just come in here along the bottom of all the builds, placing in some glowstone with carpets on top of it. And I'm hoping this will make the treasure kind of look like it's just radiating light and it's glowing. I think it's gonna look really cool. We'll see how it turns out. And taking a step back in free cam and looking at this area, this looks insanely cool. Turning out so much better. I was getting a little nervous there for a minute, but this is definitely going to be worth it. Now what I want to do is come in and make a bunch of item frames, because for those of you who didn't already know, I have the Invisible Item Frames resource pack installed. And so what I want to do is go place a bunch of these item frames all over the ground, and then I want to throw some diamonds and some raw gold and some redstone and emeralds in them to make it look like there are smaller pieces of this treasure thrown about the place. Now, another thing I want to introduce you guys to today is a data pack I have installed called Mini Blocks. And this does exactly what it sounds like it does. It enables you to put most of the blocks in Minecraft into a stone cutter, so you can turn them into mini versions of themselves. Now, this data pack is just a decoration data pack. There's no way for me to cheese this system to get more items out of these blocks than I would normally. When you put one block into a stone cutter, you get 8 mini blocks out, but I can't then turn around and turn those mini blocks back into regular size blocks. So I have to use them sparingly, because once I convert them to mini blocks, basically the items I put in to create said mini blocks, I can never get them back out again. So for anybody who is even thinking about starting to say that this is some form of cheating, no, I am actually doing something that is very much to my detriment in order to have cool decorations. Now, I don't know how I feel about this mini block data pack yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it in the final version of my mod pack, because this is leaning a bit more towards the modded side of things rather than the vanilla plus side of things, and I'm not sure how far in that direction I want to go, but for now I think they look really cool and I'm going to use them. The only thing I'm concerned about is that they might cause a little bit more lag, so if that ends up being the case, then we'll remove it. And of course, if you guys don't like it either, we'll remove it then too. But yeah, just that lag is the most concerning part. And to be honest with you, I don't know what kind of lag is more annoying, frame rate lag or server lag. You know, when like you're playing on a realm or a server with your friends and you place a block and then it takes you back a few seconds and it's gone or something like that. That's really annoying. But fortunately, I haven't had to deal with that in a very long time because of the sponsor of today's video, GG Servers. Creating and running your own Minecraft server is hard, but GG Servers makes it easy. If you're looking to start your own Minecraft server, whether that be vanilla or modded, GG Servers has got you covered with powerful performance, global locations, and instant setups. They support one-click installs for all your favorite mod packs and have 24/7 customer support to help you out with whatever you need. So if you want a smooth gaming experience with server maintenance that's easy to understand, GG Servers is definitely for you. And for this video, you can get 20% off your purchase when you use code INSEE25 at checkout. So hit up ggservers.com and get started on your own Minecraft server today. But alright, with a lot of the mini blocks in place, I want to come in now and just add a bunch of barrels and chests all over the place here. One, to break up the color palette, add some darker browns in here, and two, to make it look like there are some actual treasure chests that are also completely filled with gold scattered around the area. But now what I want to do is come into the center of the build here, kind of in where like the dragon is wrapped around, and I want to add a bunch of hoppers underneath some carpets, so that way we can have the storage system actually be right underneath the dragon itself. And when we want to come and actually store items, we can act as if we're actually sacrificing those items to the dragon by throwing them at his feet. And once they hit the gold on the ground, they'll just be sucked in through the hoppers. So I'm just going to clear out an area here beneath where I want the storage area to be. We'll throw down another line of hoppers, and I'm also going to use a redstone technique here to create an automatic storage system. That way we can have multiple chests that are designated to their own individual items. So for example, we'll have a few chests that only collect diamonds, only collect emeralds, gold, redstone, iron, and so on and so forth. And the best part about this storage system is that even though it looks really small, I know what you guys are thinking right now, Insee, there's no way you just built this giant cave for this tiny little storage room. And well, yes, I did. I did do that. I'm sorry, but I did. This storage room is also basically infinitely expandable. All we need to do is take the chests and, build them downwards if we ever want more, connect some hoppers to them, and we're good to go. We basically have an endless amount of storage here. But we'll just come back up top here and cover up the surface hoppers. And there we go. If we throw items into it, we can just see them disappear. And that is pretty cool. I like it. But now what I need to do is I need to find a way for us to actually access that storage area. So we're just going to make a little tunnel leading back out of the storage room, and we're going to carve out a secondary entrance behind the primary entrance to the main room. And alright, after a little bit of redstone maintenance and some touch-ups, all of the items seem to be sorting properly into their designated chests. And if we come up top here one more time to try to test this out, yep, it appears everything is properly getting swallowed up by the hoppers and is going right where they belong. Now to go back to the little entrance areas I was just talking about and working on, I want to create a proper kind of trapdoor sitting on the floor here. I like the idea that, you know, when we come into this room from the little tunnel passageway, whenever we open it, we have to like push a bunch of gold out of the way and off the top of it as well. I think that would be a pretty cool idea, a pretty good point to try to get across. So I'm just going to throw in some trapdoors here with one side being open and one side being closed. And then I'm going to line the entrance with like chiseled tough bricks. And then I'm also going to do some work beneath the trapdoor, adding a bit of a steeper staircase, so that way we can actually walk our way up to the entrance itself. And then I'll just come through and replace all of the sand and sandstone with a bunch of tough stone and cobblestone, and we'll smooth out the stairs with some slabs as well. And then I also want to start building another cave tunnel behind the main entrance here, and this will be the tunnel that leads us to where we actually gather all of our materials from. This way we have a proper way to access it. And so now that we got this tunnel built and properly smoothed out, I'm going to come in and do the exact same thing I did on the front in the back here. I'm just going to add a couple piles of gold dotted around the place, and I'm going to throw in some barrels and some chests and some wooden support beams as well, just so that the look of this area is consistent with the look of the front of the area. And I know I said I wasn't going to use torches for floor lighting, but I've run out of glowstone. I really don't feel like going back to get more right now. And since this is kind of a back area, the smoke particles aren't really going to bother me as much if they're visible, so we're going to leave it for now. I also need to come down to this skinnier tunnel here, and I need to make this look as natural as possible while also keeping it straight, because I do need this corridor to kind of directly lead straight into the actual collecting room, so I can't really have it zigzag as much as I have been doing with the other caves. But there we go. I think this works pretty good for now. Alright, so next on my to-do list is flying down into our little forest here, and we're going to steal a piece of glow lichen, and we're going to use some of our bone meal from our bone meal farm, and we're just going to collect as much of this glow lichen as possible. I want this entire room to be completely mob proof, and we have a little bit of an issue of some of the higher parts of the caves not being mob proof. I have had a few creepers drop in on me, and I'm not really enjoying that, so we need to light up the higher portions of the cave, and I think glow lichen is probably the best way to go about doing that. And as I was towering up looking at the higher portions of the cave, I noticed that we need to include a little bit more gold on the back of the dragon here. I want it to look like he's been laying here for maybe just a couple of years now, and some more gold is just ever so slightly starting to pile up on the back end of his tail and his hind legs. There we go. I actually think that adds a lot to this build. I mean, that looks a lot better. But now what I want to do is I want to come in, and this big pathway that wraps around the entire top part of the build, I want to do the same thing we did below. But there we go. This dragon and this storage room looks absolutely gorgeous. I am very, very happy with how this turned out. But that's going to do it for today's Hardcore Minecraft video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. This storage room looks absolutely gorgeous. Our nice red dragon looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm super happy to finally have this massive space below the mega castle filled with something. Now the build just feels so much less empty, and it really feels like a solid, complete structure. The gold looks beautiful. I love the look of all the items we have in item frames on the ground, and I really do think I'm enjoying the mini blocks, so hopefully you guys want to keep that as well. And I know what you're thinking, NC, this doesn't really solve all of your storage problems. And while you're right, it absolutely does not. This will handle all of our valuables, which now that we have farms for a lot of those things, we will have a ton of valuable resources coming in soon, so we really did need this. And for any of you wondering, yes, I am going to take this same storage technique and auto sorting system that I used down below our dragon here, and I'm going to build a bunch of these different modules scattered all throughout the rest of the starter island during some of my live streams. So again, make sure you have your channel notifications on and are subscribed to the channel so you can catch those. Now, I've mentioned it before, I want to have to use every single part of this starter island, which is why I'm not having my bulk storage be in one particular space. We have all of our valuables in this module here. We're going to build another module underneath the entertainment district for things like flowers and bone meal and rockets and all our other sorts of dyes and things. We'll have another module underneath the farming district for all of our food, another one under our mining district for all of our stone type blocks. You get the idea. We're going to have these things all over the island. But once again, that's going to do it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed, but I gotta get going because I've got more work to do.